Please welcome to the stage the moderator for the Beauty and Fashion panel, Terrence Kim of Iise.
Hi guys, my name is Terrence. I'm going to be moderating today's panel on beauty and fashion. Thank you. Just to introduce myself, I started a brand called Iise with my brother back in Seoul in 2015, and we're a menswear brand inspired from different elements of both traditional and modern Korean culture. Today, we're joined by three of my friends with amazing companies. Can you guys introduce yourself, what role you have in the company, and a little bit about the brand? Starting with Grace. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grace Chi Nguyen. I'm a third generation jeweler, and I'm the founder of LOUPN.
Hi, I'm Erica Choi. I am the founder of Superegg Skincare.
And I'm Wonny Lee. I'm the founder of Elorea with my wife Sumin Park.
Yeah, thank you guys. I was just curious, what did you guys study in school? And before starting your own companies, do you have any other prior work experience? And then also, what inspired you to start your own company eventually? This is for anyone. You guys can jump in anytime.
So actually, I started my career at Samsung. This is back in 2004, 2005, mostly on the investment team. And so we invested in things like consumer brands, consumer marketplaces, particularly e-commerce driven, and esports. So those were my two kind of focuses. And then as I grew through my career, I ended up joining a company called Turtle Beach, which made headphones for video gamers. After that, I was one of the founding members of a sneaker brand called Greats, which we had fortunately sold in 2019 to Steve Madden, and now Elorea. That's kind of how we came to be.
Erica?
My background started in design. My latest role was at Barney's New York, where I joined a team as the digital art director, and I left as the vice president of digital design when it folded. But over my career, I was 6 years there. I saw so many brands grow, and I think Barney's did an incredible job incubating and discovering new brands, and I felt like that's something I really wanted to do for myself and start something where I can really grow and develop, and a brand that really shows my background and experiences.
I went to school I went in as a bio major. I thought I was going to be a doctor like every other Asian. Decided that that was definitely not for me. And I ended up studying psychology and management and started working in marketing. So I started in marketing and digital production for ad agencies, and I managed e-commerce operations for Guess and Bajorgen's Tile and Stone. But I knew from when I was like early 20s that I wanted to start my own business. And it was when my daughter, I have two kids, 10 and 7, and it was when my daughter started kindergarten that I decided to start my own business. My mom, when I was younger, she worked all the time, and she just wasn't around when I was growing up, so I wanted to be really available for my kids. So that's when I shifted from my full-time position to starting my own business so I could have a more flexible schedule.
And I was an English major at SUNY Binghamton, upstate New York. My first two internships were actually at Samsung also. And Iise is actually my first official job, so yeah. My next question is, so in Korea, I found that a lot of the fashion brands tend to stray away from being too Korean inspired. But when I think of all these brands from Koreans that are born outside of Korea, a lot of them represent their heritage in a lot of different ways. I was curious if that was similar in your industries, and if so, why do you think that is? And how important is it for you guys to represent your heritage through your company?
I think growing up, there was a lot of course, misrepresentation or kind of like Korea was not well known at all. And I feel like over the years that's completely changed. But I think we, as small business owners especially, have a job to work together to really continue to tell our stories. And especially I think like K-pop and K-drama, the whole entertainment industry, I feel like they do a good job at speaking to a larger vision and about our culture, but as individuals or smaller businesses, I think we can have an opportunity to tell a more personal story. And I think that's another, we have to fill in the cracks and really, in order to tell that more wholesome kind of culture and history about us.
Yeah, I looked at least from my personal perspective, kind of like grass is always greener. Kind of going back to your question, I always feel like it's actually funny when we were talking about Elorea and the idea and the concept of sharing Korean culture. We actually went to Korea and asked a lot of friends and family and how they felt about this particular concept. And to be quite honest, we heard the word 천수로 a lot. Why or how is Korea, can you represent it in a high quality or a luxurious way? It just didn't compute. But for us, and for me in particular, growing up and being born here, a lot of my inspiration really comes from finding that culture and the history that I desperately didn't want to be a part of growing up. And so that, in a nutshell, is where I find at least for me, find my inspiration for wanting to uncover, to learn, and just share those things alongside everything that we're doing. And then the medium that we do it just happens to be our products and our brands. So
I think I have this similar experience because I've tried to explain the concept of my brand to a lot of people I've looked up to, and they just didn't understand what we're trying to do. And they also use that same word, chansuroa, which kind of means corny or something.
Old-fashioned.
Yeah, old-fashioned maybe. Yeah. But after launching the brand, they just couldn't see the vision that me and my brother had. And I think same with your vision and everyone up here. What was in your mind? No one else can see unless you actually put the work out and show what you're doing. So yeah, I get where you're coming from too. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't see a lot of or many jewelry brands that focus on Korean heritage designs, but it's definitely an inspiration for LOUPN. I'm just really fascinated by traditional Korean designs, and I love watching 사극, which is the Korean drama, based in the old ancient times, because I just love the visuals from it. I love hanbok, and that's actually where I find a lot of the design inspiration for LOUPN. And I think especially as immigrants, there's a lot of us that just often feel, belonging neither here nor there. And so wearing pieces that are inspired by traditional Korean designs, for me, it just brings a feeling of home, and it's just very comforting to me. So I hope I hope other brands also, keep going with Korean designs, because I feel like if we don't continue, then who will?
Yeah, great answer. Thank you. This is a question that I also get asked a lot. What does your family think about you running your own business? And have they helped you guys in any way shape the brand?
So, funny enough, my parents when they introduce me to their friends, they say he used to work at Samsung, and now he has his brand that's sharing Korean culture, which is Elorea. Everything in between was kind of a wash. But to me, I know they obviously care very much, and they've given me a lot of support. I relate a lot to my dad because he was an entrepreneur as well. But he had gone through his own business failing, and I watched him go through bankruptcy, closing up that business. But this sense of optimism and waking up, and he still is a very, very positive human being. And I not so much like the Korean culture or sharing side, but just the way he approached work and life, and it's just been really, really humbling. And now as we're getting older, I'm like incredibly empathetic for what he had gone through. So that's really where I get it.
Yeah, thankfully, my family is very supportive. I take a lot of inspiration from my mom and my late grandma. And because they were just super strong, positive women, and the rest of my family is also very supportive. So my husband is my best unpaid intern. He helps me with pop-ups and just everything. My parents used to drop off orders for me at the post office and whatnot every day until I was able to hire help for fulfillment. And my kids also help with, little odds here and odd jobs here and there, filling orders or, packaging and inventory. And they were actually a part of my most recent campaign, so I was able to shoot with them. So that was really incredible.
So I went to art school, and I had a 15-year career in design. So I think when I was developing the brand, my parents were very worried because they were like, why are you leaving your corporate job? You've been doing this for so long, like you're meant to be doing this. But then I feel like just having something I can grow and develop is something that I felt strongly was the next step. And my husband is also the co-founder, but he came to the States from Korea to start his own design consultancy. So I've seen him on his journey, and I felt inspired that we could really work together to build something beautiful. So my parents I think they trust that we're building something together that will just mean so much more in the long term.
Yeah, I think for us, they didn't really know what me and my brother were doing the first 3 years, because everyone lives in New York and New Jersey, and my brother and I were the only ones out in Seoul. But then when we had our first fashion show here for New York Fashion Week, I sat my whole family, like my grandma, everyone in the front row, and then we kind of showed them what we were working on the last few years. So after that, they stopped asking me to come back home and find the job. So, yeah. What is the hardest part of running your own business? Because I think that's something that we all deal with every day, but maybe not a lot of us talk about all the time. So I'm just curious, as a fellow entrepreneur, what you guys deal with.
From a more logistical or physical point, I think just wanting to do so much, but not having the funds or the resources or the time, I think is the hardest. It's like I always say, it's like planning a wedding. Like you have this grand vision, and then every little detail costs X amount. So you have to land at what you can do. But I think that's the joy of building something and seeing it grow and develop and just building step by step. I think that's something that we come across all the time. But from a more emotional standpoint, I think for me, I want to make all our customers happy. But I think with skincare or a lot of different areas, I think everyone's skin is so different. Like it's impossible to make every single person happy. But that's just my kind of wanting. So I think just dealing with that, it's hard for me on the mental and emotional side.
Yeah, I can totally relate on the trying to do everything. Yeah, I think the hardest thing for me is trying to do everything myself, and then asking for help and taking time to rest, because you're just, as an entrepreneur, I mean, most of us are pretty crazy, like intense, and like we're very goal oriented, so we just keep going, and sometimes you don't know when to stop. But I've really learned kind of the hard way in the last couple of years that you really need to take the time to stop and slow down and rest, so that you can move forward, because otherwise you'll just crumble. So yeah, just taking time to rest.
I think the toughest part of anyone's, at least from my perspective, has been like people problems.
Same.
It's at the core of what we do is, I think, as leaders of your business, it's really bringing people together and sharing that same vision and getting them to move in the right direction. But we're all so different, and so at the core of what we have to do incredibly well, and what keeps me up at night, is just hoping that my team is happy, content, motivated, and then understanding to, I think I heard it, but our time is so valuable, and understanding when we feel our team is just overwhelmed and you need to bring on more people or help, and at the same time letting them grow too. It's so ingrained in us to like want to do everything because it's your brand, it's your vision, and it's your creativity, but it's a collection, and letting go a lot of the times is hard for a lot of founders. But I think it's so necessary because the creativity that is brought through a collection of people is just, it can be incredibly beautiful. But that's hard. That's really difficult.
I think, yeah, we're very similar because when I started the brand, Nothing Brother, I didn't think that people would be working for us in the future. So like managing people was not something I expected when we started the company, but I think that's been like one of my biggest challenges is, like you said, handling different experiences. If someone is having a bad day, or if they're sick, or if they broke up with their boyfriend or something, like I have to help manage them to make sure they're in a good mood every day, So I think that's like a big challenge of mine. And then also balancing like creativity and commerce. Like as a fashion brand, like sometimes you want to make like the craziest, coolest looking pieces, but you're gonna sell like 5 pieces maybe, But then you have to kind of adjust and maybe not make something so crazy in order for the commerce side of the business. So I think that's always a balancing act for us every season, which is something that we didn't expect to when we first started the brand. Who is your biggest inspiration?
You go first.
My mom, for sure. My mom and my late grandma, they were just super positive, strong women. They're just like always, bringing people together and like lifting them up and just encouraging them. And I think it's just so powerful. So yeah, that's definitely two people that I really aspire to be like.
I would say my mom too, because the whole, even our brand, it's based on the ancient Asian rituals of applying eggs as a face mask. And that stemmed from me going to Korean saunas when I would visit Korea in the summer when I was younger. So Jinjilbang is like the neighborhood like sauna, I guess. And we would use eggs as a face treatment. So I think just having that as a basis for the brand, I can't help but thank her. But I think also, throughout my career, I've come across a lot, well, not a lot, but a handful of strong Asian American leaders in the workplace. And I think even like the past few years, this has changed a lot. But when I was starting out, there were not a lot of strong women, Korean or Asian women in the workforce. And I feel like I was always like, that's my goal, like that's who I want to be. And I want to thank them also for being that kind of, so like those people who I can strive to be like in the future.
I don't know. This is a tough one because I think it's just a general sense of like curiosity that really gets me motivated. Seeing people here, just this is a cultural event about Korea, and just everyone being here and enjoying it and learning, and yeah, that's pretty cool. Like that's really inspirational. And like when we first pitched the idea to Korean people, they were probably like, "Oh, who's gonna listen?" Right? And so moments like these I'll remember a lot, and especially when we go back to the drawing board and think about all these things, because it just kind of validates that there's something brewing that's really special, and I think we're kind of still in the first innings of it. And so for those reasons, I think these kind of things are very inspirational for me.
I think for me, it's also my mom. Like growing up, she would always, I was born in New Jersey, by the way. And every weekend she would take us to the city to see like the New York Philharmonic, or like all these art exhibitions, or like antique auctions and all this stuff that we hated doing when we were little kids. But just looking back, like her curation of like furniture, the ceramics we used in our house, like we were exposed to that like every day through such an early age. And yeah, just thinking about that, like, I know my mom was born a creative person, but because of circumstances, I think for a lot of our parents' generation, they weren't able to pursue what they were kind of like born to do. So yeah, she's definitely like the biggest inspiration for me and my brother to keep like pushing on. So yeah, I agree with you guys.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, are there any notable collaborations or partnerships that have been really influential in the brand's growth? And how do you guys select and approach potential collaborations or influencers for your products?
Wow. I don't. We haven't done like a real collaboration yet, so I can't really speak to that part. But we do like to. We do like to bring together a lot of Korean entrepreneurs. Erica and I and Terrence, you and I, we go out, we go get dinner, we get drinks, and I think it's therapeutic for all of us. Like Eric and I have very similar, and we can be very empathetic for each other because we work with our spouses, and so those kind of events and those bringing together of people has been for me just very special, and I cherish those moments a lot. And we would love to like host dinners and bring more entrepreneurs together, because at the end of the day, like I actually hate the word like entrepreneurship, because by definition it's like you're alone, and it really isn't. I think entrepreneurship, or even running your own company and starting one, it's really a team sport. I think when everybody wins and everyone supports one another, like it just helps us. Like all, high tide will raise all boats, and we truly believe in that. And so yeah, I don't know about collaborations just yet, but we do like to just spend time with other people, because that'll just help us in the long run.
Yeah, I think that's, so I live in Seoul most of the year. I'm here just a few months out of the year, but just like you said, like the times that we do gather for dinner or drinks, like that's some things that also like so valuable to me. In Korea, I think out of the fashion brands, at least, I think me and my brother are the only Korean American brand owners. So we don't get that many chances to have these type of talks. So every time I come back to New York, like that's what I love doing. So we should do that more often. Yeah, Erica, go.
I think like what Wonny said, it is about bringing together a community, and like my husband and I have been married over 10 years, but Superegg is our first baby, and they say it takes a village to raise a baby, and I feel like it really takes a village to raise a brand too. And it just, I think one of the best things about running a business is the opportunity to meet so many other like-minded, like super passionate people who you're going towards one goal that you feel so strongly about, and that's something I feel like is so inspirational to me. And in terms of collaborations, we haven't really done anything official either, but I think I've been a content creator a while now too, so reaching out to other creators that really I feel like would appreciate and take joy in using our products, I think that's something that is really important. And I think working with all those creators, it really helps to build that like community, and that in itself is a collaboration.
Yeah, I love doing collaborations. We've, as LOUPN, we've done 3 collaborations so far, and it'll be our 3rd year in November. But I would say the most influential collaboration is Maum Market. They, at the time that I started thinking, I need to do more pop-ups. Like almost 2 years ago, Arnold and Keo reached out to me and saying that they created this platform for small businesses like mine to come together and sell and create a community, and they've built such a beautiful community, and just created this platform for us to connect. And there's so much that I appreciated that so much that we actually also created a collaboration piece. This piece that I'm wearing, it's the Korean trigram ring. The design is based on the Korean flag, the 4 corners of the Korean flag. So it just represents community and the movement of harmony and just collaboration and our surroundings.
Yeah, so what was the biggest or most memorable moment in your career thus far?
It's weird. This is gonna sound really weird, but my first 회식 is like my most memorable because so quick like when I joined Samsung, I was actually 19, and so I couldn't drink officially. And so by the time when I finally became 21, I remember very vividly my first official like 회식, and it was like a celebration, and just everyone kind of taking care of me that night, and for some reason that always stuck. And one of the things I think a lot about is those original people, my manager, the VP at the time, and one of the I think the most important lesson I ever learned that night was my reputation, or the way he was saying it, your reputation is more valuable and is your biggest asset in your entire career. It's more valuable than money. And I didn't really get it at that time, but it wasn't until like, a couple of years later when I had a business fail and there was like no money in the bank whatsoever. And I reached out to a bunch of friends that I had worked with, and within a few months, I was back on my feet. There was another role, there's another job, whatever it was. And that's when it clicked. Like, it's because they trusted me, and they're putting in a good word. And so yeah, that really stuck out to me. That original Hueshik was when I learned that. So.
And also, Elorea, Wonny's brand, just opened a beautiful store in New York. That's always like a dream of mine too, and I think any New York-based entrepreneur would just love to have their own retail space. So I think that's another big moment in your career as well. So congrats.
Thank you.
Me too. Mine was in my career. I think it's when I did land the job at Barney's to head up the entire digital design department. I think I interviewed 4 times over the course of 10 months. So when I finally got that job, it was incredible. I mean, a lot of responsibility, but it was just another opportunity for me to kind of prove myself, not for others, but even just for myself. It's like, can I do this? I think that challenge, held a lot of worth. But then in terms of the brand, I think when we first got the first prototype of our, I don't know if you're familiar, we have a egg-shaped packaging. So when we got the first prototype, I was like, this is, oh my God. And then we launched in Japan this April, and that was a dream come true as well.
Also, I know you just had 2 pop-ups in Seoul also. Congrats on that. How was
Yes,
that?
thank you. We're not officially launched in Korea yet. We're planning for next year. But we did have 2 amazing pop-ups, one at Kinfolk Dosan, which is a standalone store in Gangnam, and then Galleria department store, which is close by too.
How are the Korean consumers there compared to like your American consumers?
It was
Just curious.
interesting to see. I mean, I think because they're familiar with the concept of using the egg as a skin treatment, that barrier to entry, like that education piece, wasn't necessary in a way. But the Korean market is very picky, very sensitive. So I think it'll be another like fun challenge to kind of see our way through that as well.
Congratulations to both of you. That's amazing. I would say my most favorite moment was when I had my photo shoot for my current campaign, Coming Home. I wanted to just bring the sense of belonging because I feel, including myself, it was hard for me to feel like a sense of belonging. Like even starting the brand, it was a lot of questioning myself, like, do I belong here? Do I belong in this space? And so I wanted to bring that sense of, yes, like you do belong here, you do belong in this community, in this space, to just anyone wearing our pieces. And I incorporated a lot of my heritage designs, like personal inspirations through my family. Like this ring that I'm wearing is a dome-shaped ring that has the flower pattern of Ihwa, which is plum blossom, which used to represent the Korean Empire back in the days. And this is the type of ring that my grandma used to wear all the time, like stacked to, sangarakji like this. So it was a very, very personal collection for me, and I got to shoot it with my 2 kids. We wanted to, because LOUPN started out as more catering to men, and then women started wanting our pieces as well, so we expanded sizes and designs to cater to kind of be more unisex. So through this campaign, we wanted to show that anyone can wear this jewelry, because a lot of people do ask, like, is this men's jewelry, or do you have to be Korean to be wearing this jewelry? And it's like, no, you can be anyone and wear any of our pieces. So we wanted to show, different age groups of models, including, my kids, and a senior gentleman, And it was just such an incredible day. It didn't feel like work at all. It was just like we were playing. My kids were just having so much fun. My son was like showing off his soccer skills, and my daughter was showing off her, tap skills during the photo shoot. And it was really like family. And I was working with. It was seriously a dream come true with my the team that I always work with for photo shoots. It was just so fun, and it really felt like coming home.
Great. I think we have time for one last question, if that's okay. What is the long-term vision for you guys, for your companies? Or the dream?
I think so. The egg is a symbol of balance, essentially, and our goal is to help people find balance in their lives. I feel like my whole life, that's something I've struggled with. And I just feel like with Superegg, I want people to find comfort using our products or whatever your self-care rituals are. Just dedicate 5 minutes a day to really build up that kind of holistic mental, emotional, physical well-being for yourself. And my physical dream is to build out a space one day where you can really experience that in like 100% way.
We have this, obviously we want to grow the business, and I think everyone feels the same way about their own. But there's this, for me, that first thing that we talked about when Koreans from Korea were calling the idea just sort of chonsuro. So I think about that a lot. Not that I'm like a very revengeful or spiteful person, but it always sticks. And one of the things that I love to just work towards is not beating, but being able to stand side by side with what they deem as, the best brands on the planet. Because I feel like, we have so much to offer in Korea, especially not just us. There's beautiful brands all over the place, and one of the things that always, we get motivated by. I don't really necessarily get angry by, but motivated by is the fact that I know that the quality, the craftsmanship, and the care and love that we put into our products is just as, if not better, than, let's say, the typical European counterparts. And so, once I feel, or once we can recognize that level or that side-by-side respect, I feel like we're going to continue to work towards that. So yeah, for me, that's kind of what I would, want for Elorea. Personally, my wife knows, like, I want to open up a tteokbokki stand, and so that's my dream.
I'll be your first customer. I love tteokbokki too.
LOUPN is a digital-only brand as of now, but I would love to have a physical store at some point. But I want it to be not just a store, but a space where the community can come together in a creative way. I don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but maybe we should collaborate someday. But yeah, where you can explore and just be creative and be well.
Okay, thank you guys. I think we have just a few minutes for a few Q&A questions. Does anyone have any questions?
Hi. Can each of you speak to how you named your companies?
Yeah, our name is actually a portmanteau or a combination of elements of Korea, so Elorea. And it really just inspired everything that we do, whether it's the campaigns, even the copy, the ingredients in our perfumes. We wanted to incorporate as much of Korean culture as we possibly could. So yeah, we hope that our mission is instilled into our name.
For Superegg, egg is a name. eggs have always been really important to me, but we felt like our formulas are vegan eggs and is taking historical beauty rituals into the modern day. So it is essentially a super egg. So it's the next iteration of the egg.
LOUPN means like what goes around comes around. So it's related to our product, which is like round and going in loops and chains. But I believe in that the energy that you put out is what you receive back. So we promote positive thinking, and I insert encouragement through my pieces.
And Iise means second generation. For us, we draw so many influences from like different cultural things from previous generations, whether it's like fabrication or like natural dyeing, architecture design, hanbok design, but all reinterpreted through our lens for our generation. So that's kind of how we came up with our name. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so for people who aren't, who don't partake in your culture, who are not as familiar with it, who have complicated or interesting relationships to their own backgrounds and own cultures, what do you hope that you can give to them with your brands? What are like the lessons or energies or emotions that you think are kind of more universal that you want people to have or learn when they become fans of your brands? Like I'm a fan, love Elorea, love Superegg, I love your jewelry. And so like what do you hope that we are able to take away even if that we don't share Korean backgrounds or heritage?
I would love everyone to just feel confident wearing LOUPN, whether you're Korean or not, and just feel that like just exude positivity through my brand. And I love just hearing stories of how people connect with my pieces, even if you're not Korean. And I feel like a lot of people just connect their personal stories to jewelry especially. So when they're able to really tie their personal story and identity with my pieces, I think that's where magic happens.
I agree. I think just being comfortable about sharing your culture and stories. I think when I was growing up, that wasn't really accepted, or I felt very uncomfortable because it's such a foreign thing. But I think now I want to encourage others, no matter what your background is, to really it's a part of who you are, and I feel like you should have the confidence to share that with anyone else.
And yeah, I when customers like that are not Korean that come to our store, it actually gets us really more excited because it's just an indication that you're interested, and that's all we can ask for. And so just to spend time with us, just to learn about our collections and why we made them and what inspired us to do it. If you just take the time, that's all we can ask for. And yeah, and we happen to be very fortunate to recently go to like one of the Blackpink concerts, and I always look at the audience because it's one of my favorite things to do because it's so diverse. And again, like the fact that you took the time to just sit there and learn and spend time with us is really, really special. So
Yeah, and for me, I feel like because of their brand, like when we explain certain like design details or fabrication with someone, and it's something very like tied to Korean culture, I found that the person, like wherever they're from, also opens up about their culture, and I learn a lot about the other person as well. So yeah, it's been great. Any other? I think we have time for one more. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Can we have a round of applause for the guests? There's one more. No? Thank you guys.